Well, now it's my turn. The presidential address. So I have asked my very good friend, Andy Lee, we've been friends for 30 plus years, to introduce me. As some of you may think that Andy's still the chair of the Department of Plastic Surgery here at Hopkins, he's not. Andy's in Dallas now. As the Executive Vice President, Provost, and Dean of the University of Texas Southwest Medical School. So I've never been introduced by a dean before. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. It's my honor and privilege to introduce the President of the American Association of Plastic Surgeons. Our president was born in Evanston, Illinois, to parents Blair and Jerry Vedder, pictured here with younger sister Nancy. His sharp focus was already evident in kindergarten, and the comfort in his own skin was exhibited wearing the Beatles wig in grade school. Sailing at a young age with family has helped to shape his lifelong hobby, and he was said to have been an excellent foredeck crew. This photograph of Nick as a freshman at Stanford recorded his first exposure to the Yosemite and to Susan Hegbert. According to Nick, he was in awe of and forever bound to both. Nick and Sue went to medical school together at Case Western Reserve. They then get married almost 41 years ago. And even though Nick paid only $150 for his Ford Fairlane, the car was valuable enough to be towed from Cleveland to Seattle for Nick's general surgery residency at University of Washington. Occasional roadside repair was necessary. Surgical internship was rigorous, and this was how Nick spent his off-call nights. After a 2-year fellowship at NIH, he went to the Massachusetts General Hospital for his plastic surgery residency, where he studied under another president of the association, Dr. James May. He then returned to University of Washington as his first hand surgery fellow, and he has been a full-time faculty member there ever since. By then, the family was complete with daughter Katie and son Nicholas. Over the years, Nick has risen up the ranks to become the Jamie Hunter Endowed Professor of Surgery and Orthopedics, Vice Chair of Department of Surgery, Chief of Division of Plastic Surgery, and importantly, co-founder of the Combined Hand Surgery Service, which at that time in the 1990s was indeed a role model for the country for a collaborative hand surgery service between orthopedics and plastic surgery. His leadership in academic organization has been truly remarkable. He was the chair of Plastic Surgery Research Council, chair of American Board of Plastic Surgery, president of the American Association for Hand Surgery, president of the American Council of Academic Plastic Surgeons, president of Plastic Surgery Foundation, and of course, at present, the president of American Association of Plastic Surgeons. His academic accomplishment notwithstanding, he has been a dedicated husband touring with Sue around the world, including Beijing, Tierra del Fuego in Argentina, the Alps, and Hawaii. Scuba diving has become a family pastime, here pictured 90 feet under at Planencar Reef in Cozumel. Time above water was often spent on a family yacht called Night Train. This photo, Sailing with Sue, has become Nick's favorite, and it's easy to see why. Followed closely by this Thanksgiving family photo at the backyard of their home on Mercer Island. A family man and academic leader of the highest order, I'm honored to present my chief resident from NGH, who in the last 30 years has been my closest friend and plastic hand surgery colleague, role model, and academic soulmate. I'm honored to present to you the 92nd president of the association, Dr. Nicholas Vedder.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy. So you'll see in the front of every presentation at this meeting this disclosure slide. So this year we've taken conflict of interest transparency up a notch, and it's not just who you're associated with, it's the dollar amount. So here's mine. For the last year, this is on the ProPublica website, or on the CMS Open Payments website, $124 for going to see my good friend Prosper Benheim talk on Xiaflex. So $3,757 below the specialty mean. So I'm going to talk about the joy of plastic surgery. And for me, personally, it's the joy of reconstructive plastic surgery and the joy of academic reconstructive plastic surgery. But for you, I hope it's the joy of whatever plastic surgery it is that you do. Here's where I come from, University of Washington in Seattle, Division of Plastic Surgery, Harborview Medical Center, which is the level 1 trauma center that serves a third of the US landmass and a population of 11 million people, and the combined hand surgery service at the University of Washington. I get joy out of all of these. So why and how I find it, why it's important, how you can find it too, lessons I've learned along the way, and this is the end of the road for me, so this is my last opportunity to get stuff off my chest. So my goal today, as Franklin Roosevelt said, be sincere, be brief, and be seated. So I'll try to do that. So why find joy in plastic surgery? Well, it's pretty clear. We all know this saying, choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And for me, that is so true. I love my job. I look forward to going to work every day, unless I've been on call the night before. But I am truly at 0 on the burnout scale because of this. And so if you can help your colleagues and trainees find joy too, I think plastic surgery will flourish. How do I find joy? That's pretty simple too. Every day I get up, I know that that day I may have an opportunity to make a difference in a patient's life that will last their entire life. I can't think of anything more rewarding on earth. So this is our gift as plastic surgeons, that we get to revel in this awesome power of plastic surgery to rebuild lives, both our patients and our own. So when we look at who are we as plastic surgeons, we are the most schizophrenic specialty there is. We're cosmetic surgeons, breast surgeons, reconstructive, craniofacial, hand, burn, microsurgeons, and often several of these in one. But really what plastic surgery is developing creative solutions to difficult problems everywhere in the human body. We are the last true general surgeon, and our job is to solve everybody else's most challenging problems. That's what plastic surgery is. We don't own any system or area of the body. We own one thing, and that is innovation. Over time, our innovations become the standard of care, as they have for skin grafting, flaps, transplantation, microsurgery, craniofacial techniques. Other specialties will incorporate them, our innovations, but they're not really ours. It's not competition, it's just evolution. But if we don't continue to innovate, we won't have a specialty anymore. So that's why we need to continue to innovate to create the future of plastic surgery. So I'm going to talk about the joy of plastic surgery in 4 spheres: patient care, teaching, research and innovation, and fellowship, and finding joy in each and every area, hopefully every day. As far as patient care, I've always said that my patients have had the single greatest influence on my career. So I look to my patients every day for my moral compass, and the reason I enjoy so much being a plastic surgeon is because of my patients. Looking at this 50-year-old Boeing engineer who cut off all of the digits in his dominant hand in a table saw, he doesn't have a dominant hand anymore. So spending about 24 hours under the operating microscope, putting them all back on, we're able to restore his hand, restore his function, and rebuild his life so that he's able to continue to live, continue to work, and do the things he enjoys doing. A young woman working in a fish processing plant who got her hair caught in the machine, took off her entire scalp, part of her left ear. There it is at the scrub sink, getting it ready. And there it is after a dozen microsurgical anastomoses, alive again. Alive again. That's just nothing so cool than that. Some of the skin did not survive. It was crushed, and so she was left with this defect. But employing the magic of plastic surgery, we tissue expanded her recently replanted scalp, and were able to transfer the hair-bearing skin over to her ear again. Because it wasn't attached on this side here, she kind of drooped over to the right, so had significant brow ptosis, and tried several coronal brow lifts that didn't work, and ultimately did a direct brow lift right through there, put it into a screw right in the frontal bone, and that kept it up. We did a couple of Z-plasties for her intercanthal webs, and then 3 years later, here she is, rebuilding lives. That's what we get to do as plastic surgeons. And I got a 20-year follow-up on her fairly recently. Another one of my favorite cases, a young girl, 7-year-old, who was inner tubing with her family on their powerboat on Lake Washington. She got her feet wrapped around the coil of the rope, and as they took off at 40 knots, the inner tube took off like a kite, and she became the tail on the kite, 50 feet into the air, almost taking off both of her feet. Here on the right side, it's through the bone, completely devascularized. Fortunately, her tibial nerve was still intact, but plated the bone, used long vein grafts to reconstruct the artery and vein, and a live foot again. Unfortunately, she had significant crush injury, so the zone of injury was significant, lost a lot of that skin, ultimately did a latissimus free flap with skin graft, but several months later, she's back to polishing her toes and going about life as a normal kid, enjoying stuff that normal kids do. Really one of my favorite patients. A couple of years ago, she sent me this photograph that hangs on the wall of my office. So it's right by the door. So every day I leave, I get to see this. This is why I love being a plastic surgeon. This is how I find joy in plastic surgery. She went on to become the lead scorer on her middle school lacrosse team here, cutting right on her replanted foot. Now, many of you were in Boston at ASPS a couple of years ago when I was the PSF president and saw her run from the back of the auditorium up on stage barefoot to accept the Patience of Courage Award. She is truly a patient of courage and someone who inspires me every day. Another great patient who inspires me is Jamie Hunter. Was almost killed when a giant boulder rolled down Mount Hood and nearly crushed her, nearly killed her when she was up hiking in the snow. She was brought into the local hospital. They actually had to put her on cardiopulmonary bypass as they were controlling the bleeding. She was in the ICU for almost 2 months, and then I got to spend a couple of months rebuilding her body, rebuilding her life, and now I'm the Jamie Hunter Endowed Chair in plastic surgery. But it doesn't need to be cases like this. I mean, even simple cases can change lives too. A 3-minute carpal tunnel release can return a Boeing engineer, or in my case, a hand surgeon, to his or her career. 45-minute thumb CMC arthroplasty, returning activities of daily living, knitting, woodworking. It's cool stuff. So my typical OR day, we have a brief at 0700, getting our 2 rooms ready, 14 cases planned, a combination of complex and simple cases. And here I am going through the list. We have our anesthesia team, nursing team, residents, fellows, everybody planning the day 14 opportunities to make a difference in a patient's life. That's pretty cool. And what's really fun is if you get to do it with a resident who can then break the speed record doing a endoscopic carpal tunnel in 3 minutes, that's really cool. So think about that, changing someone's life in 3 minutes. It happened to me. I had one of my chief residents do my carpal tunnel, and it totally changed my life. My hands don't go numb when I operate anymore. So it is amazing. So find joy in every case you do. Another area of joy for me is the collaboration that we have at the University of Washington in hand surgery, as Andy was talking about, between orthopedics and plastic surgery. On the left is my partner, orthopedic partner of 29 years, Doug Hannell. He's the program director of the orthopedics residency. On my right is my plastic surgery partner, Jeff Friedrich, program director of our plastic surgery residency. This is my UW hand surgery family, and it is so rewarding to me every day. So it's a 30-year-old dean's level agreement, orthopedic or plastic training, hand fellowship, CAQ certified with a primary focus in hand. We have 4 ortho, 4 plastic attendings, cross-departmental appointments. We operate as one. So it really is a unique orthopedic plastic surgery collaboration that is, I think, a model, and it's based on one thing, and that's mutual respect, and we have it in spades. And what you get in the end is excellence in clinical care, education, research. We now have over 90 hand fellow graduates, and as Andy said, I'll always be the first one. So our fellows last year made this for us, the UW Hand Superheroes. So I'm Batman there, holding the anchor. But this is a lot of fun. So find joy in collaboration. I certainly do every day. I also get a lot of joy out of our program at the University of Washington, a program that Lauren Engrave founded in 1977. There's Lauren in 1977. He, over the next 12 years, hired 4 faculty, including Bill Trier was one of them. But when I came back from Boston in 1989, they had all either retired, Bill had retired, 2 had left, and 1 had died. So he was back to 1 plastic surgeon in 1989. That year, Joe hired 3 people, Joe Gruss, Richard Rand, and myself, and that was the reboot that took us forward to where we are today. 15 full-time faculty with just outstanding people. Peter Nelligan leading the UW Medical Center section, Rich leading the craniofacial section, and it's just fabulous. We're in the process of hiring 4 more, 3 of whom, if we're successful, are women. And so if we are successful, we will have 1/3 of our faculty as women. Now, it's not quite as good as we have in terms of our residency, but it's getting there, and I'm very proud of that. So teaching is certainly an area where I find joy every day. Our 24 integrated plastic surgery residents, half men, half women, all amazing people, just amazing people. So I learn as much from them as they do from me. Our 4 hand fellows, and these are the people I get to spend every day with. So our residents and fellows are truly the future of our specialty. They are our adult children. They're also our colleagues, and they're our friends. But most importantly, they're going to be taking care of us someday, and some of mine already are. Nothing more rewarding than spending a day in the OR with residents and fellows, watching them transform into competent, confident, independent plastic surgeons who I'm going to be proud of for the rest of my life. We get to share the joy with them when they succeed, as they did when they won the Residence Bowl at ASPS a couple of years ago. And if we finish early in the OR, I take them out to lunch at our local Sichuan restaurant, and we have fun. Here at the AEPS, Joe Gruss, me taking a young Jeff Friedrich out to dinner when he was still a resident, along with his co-resident, Casey Eisen. If one of my patients gives me front row tickets to the Mariners game, I'll often take a resident with me, so we have fun with them. Every July or August, we get 4 new additions to our family. Think of that, 4 in 1 year. And for me, it's an opportunity to take them boating, my passion. So all of our residents learn how to sail by the time they're done. We have that 52-foot sailboat on salt water on Puget Sound, so here's a couple of them here, 2 future academic hand surgeons. Brinkley up front is going to Vanderbilt, and Aaron in the back is hopefully joining our faculty. And it's just great fun. So we're out on the water whenever we can be. Here's getting ready for hand journal club with the hand faculty, residents, and fellows, going inner tubing with one of my residents, and enjoying a nice evening on Lake Washington with Mount Rainier in the background and the sun coming up, or I mean the moon coming up in the back. So have a lot of fun with our residents. This kind of sums it up. July 1st, a couple of years ago, finished 3 o'clock, we went sailing. There's Janelle Souza, now one of our faculty. Mitch Pett, faculty at WashU, and Kate Imbastato, first day of her internship. Not a bad way to start an internship, huh? So our chiefs last year submitted this abstract to the AAPS. It didn't get accepted, but I love it anyway. So, studying burnout in plastic surgery residents. So they studied a novel strategy for resident burnout reduction employed by a senior plastic surgeon, boating. So they sent out a confidential online questionnaire looking at the incidence and frequency of burnout, quantifying it against the number of times they went boating with me. So they found that residents who did not experience burnout at all reported boating with me an average of 5 times compared to 3, 1.7, and 0.5 in the mild, moderate, and severe burnout groups. So higher rates of boating with our senior faculty are indeed associated with less professional burnout. And then when they graduate, God, we're so proud of them. I mean, just like our own children, we're just so proud of them. So find joy in residents and fellows. Research and innovation. As Andy said, before I started plastic surgery residency, I spent 2 years as an NIH research fellow, actually at the University of Washington. These were my 2 mentors, John Harlan, the chief of hematology, Bob Wynn, the chief of surgical research. And John had identified a monoclonal antibody against the adhesion receptor on neutrophils that prevented neutrophils from adhering to endothelium. This is back in 1988. And our hypothesis was that with ischemia and reperfusion, you'd get this injury that is white cell mediated because you have the white cells, the neutrophils adhering to the endothelium, releasing their oxidants and proteases, causing endothelial injury, leading to edema, hemorrhage, and thrombosis. So our hypothesis was that if you have ischemia, followed by injury, followed by reperfusion, and this white cell mediated injury, if you could block adhesion of the white cells, you could potentially block this reperfusion injury. And so we tried it in a rabbit ear model, and there's a control rabbit ear model. You can tell significant reperfusion injury. And here's the treated ear, completely prevented. Histologically, you can see in the control ear lots of neutrophils sticking to the endothelium, causing endothelial injury, edema, hemorrhage, thrombosis, completely prevented by using the anti-adhesion antibody. Significant reduction in ear edema, and this led to my first PNAS publication, now with 245 citations. So we thought we were onto something. We tried it in a rabbit flap model and showed significant improvement in random flap survival, and then in a whole organism ischemia reperfusion scenario, such as with hemorrhagic shock. So this is a rabbit hemorrhagic shock model with significantly improved survival with the antibody treatment. This again led to a rapid publication in JCI that now has 511 citations. We did a non-lethal preclinical study in primates and found a significant reduction in fluid volume required to resuscitate them with antibody treatment. So was this the magic bullet for reperfusion injury? We thought it might be. So we worked with a local biotech company, ICOS, who had developed a pharmaceutical version of this monoclonal antibody and used it in trauma-induced hemorrhagic shock. Now, before doing this, we had, through epidemiologic studies that actually my wife participated in, found that the blood pressure, systolic blood pressure less than 90 in the face of hemorrhagic shock predicted a 50% mortality. So we thought this was a prime target population for this study. And we actually were the first study to get waiver of informed consent for a clinical trial, both by our University of Washington and the FDA, with the hope of saving dying patients. This is what we were looking at, the massive transfusion patient who have this massively high mortality. And in the newspaper, they were pumping it up. New trauma drug is saving lives. There I am in front of Harborview. The results, though, were disappointing. First of all, we had predicted a mortality of 50%. Well, in the control group, the placebo group, it was only 10%. Well, it was less in the treatment groups, but with only 10% mortality, there was obviously no statistical difference. So it was safe, but no treatment effect on crystalloid, ICU stay, ventilator days, mortalities, a slight suggestion of benefit on pulmonary and cardiac failure. But 15 years, we had gone from cell and molecular biology of adhesion to animal models, phase 1 trials, multi-centered phase 2 trial with waiver of informed consent, and we got to the end of it. It says, we've won, we've won. Yeah, so new trauma drug, not saving lives. Why? What happened? Well, there were perverse incentives, I think, that played a role. We did have this waiver of informed consent to be able to enroll dying patients with a 50% mortality, but centers were paid $12,000 for every patient they enrolled. And they only had to get one blood pressure reading of 90 to enroll a patient. So guess what? They were having patients sitting up in bed, signing their own consents, and that's why we had a 10% mortality. There were other anti-adhesion trials in MI, stroke, MS, were all negative, so there are no magic bullets. And if you mention reperfusion injury to anyone in the pharmaceutical industry, they will say you're nuts. We probably cost them $25 to $50 million in losses. So lessons, well, I think still without a demonstrated clinical application, medical research isn't worth much. But beware of perverse incentives. The wrong inclusion and exclusion criteria will kill your trial, and this isn't the only one that's happened in. But I think very importantly, if you fail, even if you fail big, like I did, don't bail. I bailed. I did not renew my NIH-R01 grant, and it is the single greatest regret of my entire career. Don't bail. So here we are today, the 98th annual meeting of the American Association of Plastic Surgeons. As Andy said, I've been lucky to lead a number of plastic surgery organizations. This is the top. This is the pinnacle, and it is a true honor for me. My wife would say, why? Why are you doing that? You like working for free. I love working with great people, and that's what it's all about, to make plastic surgery better. That's what I love about doing it. So the mission of the AAPS, providing scholarly leadership in plastic surgery. What is it? We are the elite academic organization in plastic surgery. New membership capped at 0.5% of board-certified plastic surgeons. And if we're not an elite academic organization, then what are we? We're not ASPS, we're not ASAPS. This is what we are. So we need to embrace it. It is the oldest and most prestigious plastic surgery organization in the world. As Rich Hopper noted, the full podium presentations with discussions, only 8% acceptance. This is the best of the best in plastic surgery. Our 2 symposia are truly outstanding, and we are the organization for mentoring, developing future plastic surgeon leaders. These are our stated values: integrity, scholarship, leadership, stewardship, and fellowship. And I'm going to close on fellowship, because I think that's one of the areas that truly brings me joy. Here's AAPS last year, me with current and past residents, faculty, our founder, Lauren Engrove. This is great fellowship. Henry Kamoto with Joe Gruss at the AAPS, that's fellowship. Me with Andy Lee and Joe Cerletti, that's fellowship. Andy and me with past President Susan McKinnon. If you want to know what I look like wearing Susan McKinnon's glasses, signing the check, there you go. And it's not just at the APS, it's around the world. So this is Andy and me with our wives in Shanghai at a meeting, with Andy and his wife and my wife in Hawaii at a meeting, and even in the jungles of Puerto Rico. This is the joy of fellowship that I really relish. So we are a lot about networking. So being around other plastic surgery leaders, it opens opportunities. We all know that because we've all experienced that. And so for us, mentorship, introducing the next generation to plastic surgery leaders is one of the best parts about being at this meeting with our younger colleagues. So this is the kind of thing it leads to. So you get elected to the American Board of Plastic Surgery. That's me when I was chair, with incoming chair Don Lalonde, vice chair in oral exam, Chair Mike Bentz, Barry Noon, our executive director, again, 2 past presidents of the AAPS. This is the kind of thing that AAPS networking can lead to. With my mentor, Jim May, also a past chair of the board and past AAPS president. And Joe Losi had this photo taken in Phoenix last year, the 5 past oral exam chairs, Bentz, Losi, Kuzan, Song, and Vedder. So this is the kind of fellowship that I really relish in plastic surgery. With Mary and Jim at URAPS in 2017 in Pisa. So it also leads to opportunities for outside camaraderie and joy with other plastic surgeon leaders around the world. And a perfect example of that is the American Alpine Workshop in Plastic Surgery that we just put on a couple of months ago. Myself, Betsy Hall-Findlay, and Phil Blondeel were the co-chairs, and we put it on in Zermatt, Switzerland. So the Alpine Workshop is, I think Sid Coleman captures it best. It's a think tank of global plastic surgery leaders, 25 from North America, 10 international, and it's all based on AAPS or URAPS membership. You have to be a member of AAPS or URAPS to become a member. And the things we focus on are clinical care, education, leadership, but most of all, camaraderie and the joy of camaraderie. So this is our meeting in Zermatt, and these are all the members of the American Alpine Workshop in Plastic Surgery. I bet you'll recognize many of them. This particular meeting, we got to bring our adult kids. So there's my son and daughter there, and my wife over there. That's tremendously joyful fellowship for me. I was the 3rd-time winner of the Worst Disaster Case Award. That's the only award we give out, the Worst Disaster Case Award. And so you can see other folks, other past winners of this coveted award, Blondeel, Nahai, Grotting, Sederna, Neumeister, Prebez. So this is the kind of joy and fellowship that I get. And like I said, we brought our adult kids here, so they got to enjoy the joy of plastic surgery too. So the Vedder kids, DISA kid, Kuzan kids, Neumeister kid, it was really neat. As you know, I love to sail, so whenever Bill Kuzan and I are at a meeting that has water around it, not this one, but ACS in San Diego, Bill chartered a boat and we go out sailing. The hand micronerve meeting in the Bahamas, Bill also chartered a boat. Instead of staying at the hotel, we lived on the boat and went sailing. Paul Sederna joined us as well. One of my good friends, Jim Grotting, you can see him right there in the front row, founded one of my favorite plastic surgery groups, Sailing Plastic Surgeons. So it's a bunch of plastic surgeons around the world who have big boats, and we travel around the world sailing on each other's boats. The first one was hosted by Daniel Marshak in Saint-Tropez. The next one hosted by Yoka Goes here in Ilhabela, Brazil, and it was a Rolex regatta and just a lot of fun. The next one was hosted by Daryl Hodgkinson in Australia. And Daryl actually made the burgee for our group, Sailing Plastic Surgeons burgee. He is the only plastic surgeon to have won the prestigious Sydney to Hobart sailboat race. So Jim and I got a chance to sail on his lightning rocket ship, the Victoire, in the Whitsunday Islands of Australia. So find joy in the fellowship of plastic surgery. So at the very end here, I'm just going to close out with some leadership lessons I've learned over 18 years as chief at the UW. So when you talk about leadership, this is the Wikipedia definition, the process of social influence in which one person is able to enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of a common task. And the key words here are others and common. It's not about you, the leader. It's about the team you build, support, and develop. And in the end, it's about teamwork. You lead the team, but the team is more important than the leader, yet we get to create and inspire the team. An effective leader, therefore, must care more about the team than about him or herself. Your job as a leader is to serve your team, devote yourself to addressing their problems, develop their careers, get them promoted, make them successful. And if you do, you will have succeeded too. So several lessons one important one for me is don't be afraid to surround yourself with people who are better than you, but only pick team players. Great people attract more great people, strong programs attract great people, and it's all about synergy, where what you get in the end is more than the individual parts. Talking about people better than me, here are two of them, my two program chairs, Peter Nelligan and Rich Hopper. Collaboration and cooperation will always win. Pigs get slaughtered. Collaborate with your competition, ortho, oto, oral surgery, ophtho, derm. Create joint programs like we have in hand. Make cross-departmental appointments. And in the end, everybody wins. It's all about creating the win-win. Create and maintain an environment of mutual trust, respect, and support, both of your faculty, colleagues, and residents, because we can only win by working together. And it's all about home. You know, we travel around the world to all these different organizations, but you have to focus on the home front. Your program, make it a leader within the institution, promote your faculty and programs within the institution, become a respected leader within your university. But don't forget the real home. It's the most important of all, and here's my real home. My wife of 41 years, Susan Heckbert, MD, PhD, I revel in the fact that she is way more famous in medicine than I ever will be. She has saved way more patients through her research than I ever will, and I love her dearly. My daughter Katie and son Nick, they're the love of my life. And so this is the real home for me. This is really where I go to find joy. In the end, it's all about balance, clinical, education, scholarship, work, and home. And always remember, every challenge is an opportunity. Every challenge is an opportunity. That's so true. I need to keep telling myself that, but it is true. And in life, if you're always willing to give more than you take, you'll always get far more back in return. So I hope you all find your joy in plastic surgery. Now, not yet, Roger. So, is my life stress-free? No. I have a constant barrage of opportunities. I have way more opportunities than I can deal with right now. So, you know, faculty, promotion, wellness, retention, recruitment, harmony, university, hospital politics, residence, staff issues, association stuff. Fortunately for me, no home stress. That's definitely true. Although it can be a problem. But for me, thank God, thanks to my wife, it's not. How do I manage it? Balance it with joy. Every day, balance it with some joy. You may say, but I'm not you. I'm not a chief professor. I don't have residents, fellows, a boat, et cetera. But you are a plastic surgeon with patients whose lives you can change, and you change them every day. So you can share your joy with your young colleagues, students, and staff. You can form travel clubs like we've done. You can share your joy with your family, and I encourage you to do it. So this is the common woe is me, competition, reimbursement, regulations, MOC, frigging epic.
Don't worry, be happy.
So turn your competition into colleagues. Become part of a team. Focus on efficiency. MOC is not hard. It distinguishes you. Learn the tricks of EMR. Take Epic by the horns, especially get your residents to help you do it. But most importantly, revel in the awesome power of plastic surgery to rebuild and change lives, both our patients and our own. Preventing burnout, find joy in what you do. So I want you to find your joy in plastic surgery. Find something every day. Share it with your colleagues, your trainees, your families. Always look forward to the next opportunity to make a difference, the next opportunity to celebrate and share your joy. And I'm just going to finish with some images that bring me joy every time I look at them. This is my home, Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, orca whales on our backyard, Puget Sound, and yep, that photo. This is joy to me. So thank you for the incredible honor of being your president this past year.